I just filled up my tank for $3.49 a gallon because crude prices, the futures for a barrel of gas is at $1.13, 25% increase just today alone. It's supposed to go up higher. We'll see what happens. I was going to talk about Sean Ryan interview with the priest who's an exorcist, his views on what's happening around the world. A lot of the things aligned with what I was thinking about with just the spiritual warfare, Epstein Island, child abuse, mutilations, just the world gone amok at this point. But when I looked at the futures for crude oil, I felt called to do this because of the ripple effects on all of us. I am a purchaser of silver since 2015, even though my financial advisor said, no, don't be one of those people, buy, life insurance, buy stocks, don't do silver and gold. Well, when I was buying it in 2015, it was like $15 an ounce for a, silver eagle. Now, I bought one yesterday, and it was basically $93. With the fees, it was like $87 plus the fee that bumped it up to $93. So I don't want to hear that. Inflation, concerns about the turmoil across the world, the canal. I've been listening to a lot of stuff about the history of the Straits of Hormuz. Just until recently, the Lloyd company out of the UK was the only insurer of commercial shipping. I think I mentioned in the last episode. And Trump shortly thereafter announced that, guess what, we're going to insure not just with our strongest Navy in the world, the U.S. Navy, but we're going to insure those ships.
Okay, we're just going to bring you a bit of breaking news. We're talking about the economic effect of this conflict, and we've just had this post from Donald Trump. He says, effective immediately, I've ordered the United States Development Finance Corporation to provide, at a very reasonable price, political risk insurance and guarantees for the financial security of all maritime trade, especially energy, travelling through the Gulf. This will be available to all shipping lines. If necessary, the United States Navy will begin escorting tankers through the Strait of Hormuz as soon as possible. No matter what, the United States will ensure the free flow of energy to the world. The United States' economic and military might is the greatest on earth. More actions to come. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Sam, can we get your reaction to that positive news potentially for the Strait of Hormuz?
It's fascinating. Look, in the first 48 hours after the bombing raid, what you saw is that strip of water between the UAE and Iran, which is absolutely essential, you can see it on the screen there, for containers with oil and liquid gas. About 10% of the traffic was going through that absolutely key junction in our shipping lanes. And the reason for that wasn't just the out-and-out threat, although there were attacks from Iran on some of the shipping containers, but because insurers had pooled their insurance for those boats. And frankly, if you're not insured, you can't sail. And massive global insurers were going, the risk has just got too high. So what Donald Trump is doing is he's beginning the process of trying to work out whether the US government might be the insurer of last resort. So we'll see how that works, but that's one of the preconditions to get boats back through the Straits.
And the Lloyd company is basically shrewd. For hundreds of years, the British government, under a king, basically controlled the insurance company and what ships could go through the straits in general. And that's done. That's over with. And looking at the pieces, and granted, I'm just like you. And if you haven't liked and subscribed, I appreciate it. It helps the channel. Just like you, trying to get all this information and figure out what's going on. being an Iraq and Afghanistan combat vet, I'm not excited about another war, especially boots on the ground. There's rumblings now. The press secretary for Trump has said that Trump's not taking the draft out of the equation. I'm hoping it's just one of those things like we're trying to keep all options open, but if there's a draft, we're going to, like, that's World War III. I mean, seriously, there's no reason. Europe's not a threat. Russia's not a threat. China maybe, but what are they going to do at this point? Who's going to be fighting us where we need a draft? The recruitment numbers for all the military are up significantly since Trump has become president again for the second term. I just don't see it. What do you think? Write in the comments. It blows my mind. As a father of 5, I just don't see it, nor do I want to see it. Pisses me off beyond any words that would be even an option. So the Straits were controlled by the British government, UK, with this Lloyd company. There's now us. We're insuring. The U.S. Navy is there, and we're going to be insuring these commercial oil tankers and other commerce through the Straits. Right now, if you look at this video, you'll see traffic is basically stopped through the Straits, which is very concerning. I believe 20-25% of all the world's oil goes through this strait. So not only the uncertainty of Iran and what's going to happen there, if it's going to be a long-term war, if the masses of Iranian people are going to overthrow their own government. The Kurds, they were mobilized and sent in for boots on the ground, which I love the Kurds. They were phenomenal people, crazy fighters, completely opposite of Iraqis and let alone Afghanis. I mean, it's just high IQ, very athletic, very capable, very educated, complete opposite of what we dealt with in Iraq and Afghanistan. And they know how to fight. And so them going to Iran, got to help the Iranians. That's all I got to say. But the Straits closed off. Iran, uncertainty. Stock market, like I said, is going to be, in the future is down 800 points. So look to buy on the massive dip. Oil prices, fill up your tanks because it's just going to go higher, at least for the foreseeable future. I mean, $1.13 when we were just paying $60, $70 a barrel in just a few months is crazy. One of the things, and I'd love your opinion again, like and subscribe, write in the comments. I honestly think this is more about an economic play than Iran. And I know they're tyrants. Netanyahu's been telling the world since '93 that Iran's been this close, weeks, months away from a nuclear weapon. 93. So that's what? 33 years of saying, hey, Iran's going to have a nuclear weapon. I'm just saying. But now that we've hit Iran, taken out their leadership, they get elected and they elect a new one, we take them out. It's just a crazy Groundhog Day at this point. And then you add Venezuela. The fact that we took the president out, and Venezuela has one of the largest reserves of, or the largest oil reserves in the world. So we took the president out first. Supposedly China and Russia were kicked out of that country, and we're there. Trump was bragging about Chevron and all these other U.S. companies being able to go in and start drill, baby, drill. Now Iran. We're going to put a puppet government in there, like we always do. If it's the Shah or whatnot, it'll be favorable for us because we get to pick and choose. You got Venezuela. You got the U.S., China and Russia, and our enemies no longer get the oil from these locations. They have to go through the straits through us, and we control everything. We're friends with Saudi Arabia. Iran was basically the largest oil producer that was friends with China and Russia, and now they'll be basically a extension of the U.S. Now the conspiracy theorists, and I don't know, I knew the repercussions of Charlie Kirk getting assassinated was bad enough, but the absolute turmoil and the bottom falling out. You got Tucker Carlson, you got Megyn Kelly on one side, and you have Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro on this other side, and they obviously are 110% for Israel. Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro, that's all they talk about now. It's not really U.S. government. It seems more propaganda for Israel. There's news networks, conservative right-wing news networks that are openly taking Israeli money to control the narrative for the Israeli government. They report to the Israeli government. I was told by a network directly that they were doing it. They were bragging about it shortly after Charlie Kirk's murder. And then you have Megyn Kelly, obviously Candace Owens, and Tucker Carlson talking on the other side. And what I've always been told and from experience is somewhere in the middle. But I don't want any government controlling our Congress. We have enough problems with us controlling Congress, let alone foreign governments. And I'm fine with tyranny, especially Muslim tyranny, and Iran being replaced, gotten rid of. And I've seen enough. We've talked about it, and I'm over it. Pope, I'm Catholic. The Pope comes out and says that war needs to stop. We need peace and prayer, and there's no reason for war. And how naive and ignorant that is. I mean, St. Augustine by Hippo talked about the just war. Now, I'm not saying Iran's a just war, but at the same time, for the Pope basically placating, trying to make friends with Islam, Muslims, is disgusting. They don't worship the same God. They're murdering Christians and Catholics everywhere, especially in Africa. And the Pope just says, let's pray for him. This needs to stop. And nothing. There's been mercenaries that have offered to basically have a ninth crusade, another crusade to go in there and protect the Christians and Catholics down in Africa. You see what's happening in the UK, Starmer, just blows my mind. As there's rape gangs and murders and Infada, people pro-Iranian, pro-terrorist organizations waving their flags through the UK and, praying in the streets. Starmer this weekend, I believe, went and said that you Muslims in a mosque are the face of the UK as they're beating and raping. Muslim culture beats their women, stones them, blinds the women if they take off the burqa, where Sharia law is enforced. How can these European leaders, at least leaders in name only, say something like that, knowing their culture, knowing what they're importing? It blows my mind. And it makes me think that maybe the conspiracy theorists are 100% right about trying to change the new world order and the demographic, that the white man is evil and it needs to completely change. But why would you do that to your country? but it's happening. Talking about our own Muslim leader, politician, Mamdani. His wife liked a post about Palestine and about how, celebrating October 7th attack on Israel. And that popped up, and Mamdani was basically turning around, which Muslims do, saying, trying to play the victim. That his wife, who has multiple times supported terrorism and murder of others by Muslims, is not a public figure.
Is it anybody's business, and is it fair to question you about it?
My wife is the love of my life, and she's also a private person who has held no formal position on my campaign or in my city hall. I, however, was elected to represent all 8.5 million people in this city, and I believe that it's my responsibility, because of that role, to answer any questions about my thoughts and my policies and my decisions.
Thank you.
Well, one of the reasons why I don't want to run for office is because I have 5 kids. I have a wife, and it is toxic right now. Doesn't matter what level of government or politician or elected official you want to go in. She's a public figure. You're the mayor in New York. It comes hand in hand, just like President of the United States and the First Lady. But this is what they do. They play the victim when they get caught, and hey, we're innocent. It's these people for calling it out. No, it's a fact. October 7th was a horrendous act. I don't care who you are, what politics, it was horrendous. Palestine attacked Israel, slaughtered over 1,000 people. You shouldn't be liking that. So, crazy week. Love your thoughts. I find it interesting that British Petroleum, on top of it, like I said, looking into the history of Iran, we talked about the British government basically owning 51% of the British Petroleum and their history in Iran. The Straits, it's just locked down. What are we going to see? People are talking about World War III. There's all this, again, instability. Again, love your thoughts. Write them down in the comment section. And I'd love to start a dialogue there. Been getting a lot more comments. Appreciate it. And you have a safe week. And God help us all. Semper Fi.